In June 2025, independent journalists Markéta Vacková and David Bale filmed a documentary in Tanzania. The film brought forward a number of testimonies from local underage children and their families. Their findings concerned events that had taken place during a 3-year so-called humanitarian mission carried out in their community by Czech activist Jakub Jahl. The journalists' work brought these serious accounts into the public sphere. Several months later, the journalists were contacted by a Tanzanian lawyer. After watching the film, she took on the case of a young girl named Violet. At her invitation, the journalists returned to Tanzania in October 2025 to document the progress of Violet's case. All findings regarding the legal steps taken and the changes in Violet's life were published in another documentary film, Justice for African Children. Around the same time, both journalists received an invitation to meet Pastor Mark Burns during his visit to Rome. The pastor has long taken a personal interest in the case and closely follows how certain media outlets in the Czech Republic continue to report on it. Together, they discuss the current situation in Tanzania and the wider case surrounding Jakub Jahl, whom witnesses and survivors from Tanzania, including Violet, have testified about. Pastor Burns commented on the case with the following words.
This is something that the world should not be allowing. The fact is, the world should be looking at Jakub for the atrocities that he's done to children as shutting down all finances. All bank accounts should be shut down. The Czech Republic should be shutting down all its assets, making it impossible for him to move, to buy food, to go on the run. And instead, it sounds like, based off of your preliminary reports, that the Czech Republic is protecting him. The reality of it is, Interpol should have an award for his arrest. There should be an international warrant for his arrest right now, where everyone is searching for this individual. I'm just so grateful for the work that you all have done already to help identify this evil person so that the whole world will see who he is. And the evil that they've done to these kids. We shouldn't see them as just kids, not black kids, not African kids, just kids. But unfortunately, in our society today, what took place in 1994 in Rwanda with the Hutus and the Tutsis massacring each other, and those of us in the West refused to call it a genocide because these were Africans. Had this was happening in Europe, it would have been called a genocide. We'd have been having never again speeches like what it took place in Nazi Germany. But instead, because they were Africans, Bill Clinton would not call it a genocide, nor would the U.S. government call it a genocide, because the moment they mention the word genocide, then they have to activate the United Nations into these countries, and that seemed to be something that was not a top priority for them. And so we see the same thing happening with these children that is happening in Tanzania. That these are African children, and people are not no one is raising the alarm, but you all are raising the alarm, and that's why we're having this interview today. I believe that this next documentary or this next message that's going to get out, we're putting Jakub on notice right now. Jakub needs to realize that we're not going to leave Jakub alone. We're going to continue to go after Jakub. We're going to continue to get to the bottom. I am going to make sure that everybody in the United States of America know what Jakub has done and what the Czech Republic is allowing to happen under their rule. I don't know if they know about it or not, because the relationships with the United States and the Czech Republic is pretty strong. They're one of our allies. So trust me when I tell you, Jakub, your days are numbered, sir. Trust me, we're coming after you. We're not going to stop until we get you in jail.
What would you say? What did tell us about spiritual and moral view if it is happening in the world, those cruel things?
The fact that it's happening around the world just shows the immorality of the world. The fact is that this should be a 911 emergency cry for the rest of the world. I mean, not just what happened in Tanzania with these children, but you also see what's happening in Nigeria with the fact that these Christians are being massacred and murdered, and very few people are even talking about it. Again, I truly believe it's because they are Africans. Again, we see what happened in Israel and Gaza. Evil should not be happening. People are raising the alarm for Israel, but they're not raising the alarm for Gaza. Innocent life is innocent life, regardless of who's doing the killing. And we should be screaming on the mountaintop, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of their religious background, regardless of their status in the world. A life is a life. But the fact that we pick and choose which battles we as a nation, we as a world will focus on, right? And so the fact that these children in Tanzania have been ignored for the most part.
Yeah.
And now the Czech Republic is hiding this guy, Jakub. It just shows to the immorality of our world and why we are where we are. We have to have more people like you pick up the mantle, pick up the sword, pick up the cross, and say, I'm willing to fight for any and everyone, regardless of their status in life, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of their religion, their financial background, their education. I will fight for them. Why? Because they're a human being.
Absolutely, thank you for those words. I absolutely agree. How should countries, at whole, how should countries react if they really follow the rule that children's best interests are the most important thing?
Well, if that really mattered, meaning that the countries will make decisions based off of the interests of the children, then they would have locked up Jakub's assets, right? Interpol would have an international warrant for his arrest. Mossad would be looking for him. Everyone, the CIA would be looking for him. He would not have a place to hide. He would be considered a terrorist. And the resources that is used to go after terrorists around the world should be used to come after Jakub. And by the time I'm done with this interview, that might be the case, Jakub. I want you to know that, because we're taking this thing very seriously. And the fact that there's big money behind it, and people are even attacking you all. They're attacking President Trump. The same people that's attacking President Trump is attacking Al-Ultra. The same people that's attacking President Trump is protecting Jakub. This is why we have to make a change. This is why we have to put a stop to this. But the reality of it is, the nation should be reacting like this. You shut down Jakub's assets. And if Jakub's assets are not being shut down, then we tariff the world out of the Czech Republic, who's supposed to be one of our partners, until they get to the bottom of finding where Jakub is and making sure that he pays for the crimes that he's done. Especially, we're talking about trafficking children.
I know you work to protect human rights and freedom. Yes. And in this situation where people often do not listen, children, how important it is for spiritual diplomats and human rights defenders to strongly support children's rights and freedom, even when it is difficult.
Jesus already gave us the example when he said, forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of heaven, bring them unto me. He said, bring the children unto me. Don't stop them. Bring them to me. If these children, the Bible also says that God knew us before he formed us in the womb of the mother. So we already have relationships with God. God calls children blessings. And if God is calling children blessings, you are blessed when children are entering into this world. Then therefore we should treat them as God's blessings, not the least of them, but as the blessings that they are. Again, this goes back to what you said earlier. It's about whose child it is. It's not even about just the color of your skin, because there are poor white people all over the world who get treated like second-class citizens because they're uneducated. They don't come from a rich family. They don't come from an Ivy League school. They may live in the Appalachian areas of the United States of America, where in some cases they don't even have running water, and they get treated like they are nobody. The justice system treats them differently. So it's not just about the color of your skin. It's about the haves versus the have-nots. And the have-nots get treated, despite the color of your skin. Poverty knows no color. Poverty don't care what race you are. Poverty don't care where you've come from. If it hits your family, then you're going to be treated as a second-class citizen. That is wrong. That is the purpose of the spiritual diplomats, because we don't see policy. We see problems that need to be solved. We don't focus on treaties. We cross treaty lines to go and serve the less than. And I believe this is going to be the new political party. It's going to outgrow both parties in America, because I think people are tired of being on the left and the right. They need to be on the human right. I said that before. And I believe there are more people who have that mindset. The fact that Jacob has not been arrested just shows you the immorality of our world. And until we, and Dr. King said this before. Now I said this, Dr. King said, it's not the cries of my enemies that hurt me. It's the silence of my friends. And that's what's happening right now with Tanzania. We got to speak for these children.
The last question is, what message of hope would you give to children who have suffered from such unfair treatment?
Find joy and peace and solace to know that God has raised up organizations like Electra, that you won't be quiet. You are vicious. You are tenacious. You will bust through every brick, every wall that's placed up against you. You will scrape through every door. If they bury you, you will crawl your way out of that grave and go find and nurse yourself back up and keep coming after injustices around the world. They should find joy that there's groups like Electra that will face any giant, and with the power and the hand of God behind them. You only need one smooth stone. God gave David more than he needed, but you only need one to knock out the Goliath. So those children who may watch this, know that there are people who do care, people who will fight, people who will get talked about negatively in the media and do not care. They would not go hiding under a rock. They will just get a microphone and they will talk louder. They will scream louder. They will chase down every demon that comes from the gates of hell. And to know that as long as there's people like the volunteers of Electra, then there's a chance that peace can come to them, because somebody cares for them. That's one of the first questions that was asked to me when I interviewed with Electra and I discovered who you all were. And your interview just blew up all over the world. More than CNN, more than Fox News, more than MSNBC. But one of the questions that Valerie asked me was, if there's one thing I could change, what would it be? And I said, if there was one thing I could change in the world, it would be having an advocate. Every person in the world should have an advocate. Wow. A person like Electra that will fight for them. That young girl that's in Tanzania that I'm told now is doing better now. She's, because of you all and others that have supported her, she's now learning how to do hair. She's going to launch her own business because of you all. She didn't kill herself. She didn't give up, but she had some advocate named Electra and the other volunteers to fight for her. So if every person, from the greatest to the least, had an advocate to stand for them, then you will cure homelessness overnight. You will cure injustices overnight. You will cure, you will cure hunger overnight, because everyone will have somebody that's actually fighting for them. But the enemy knows that he can go and isolate people, especially in rural parts of the world, and try to silence their voices. So that's the hope that I'm speaking to every child that's watching this, to know that there's people out there that care, and we won't stop until you're free.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's so beautiful to hear your words, and also I'm remembering the interview with this girl Violet.
Yes.
And I asked her how she feels now. And she said she thanks to God even for those horrible things, because thanks to them she found people who really care about her.
Wow.
It was very nice to hear. I of course wish for every child in the world to be protected and be safe.
Yes.
So thank you so much for your support, for your work. I really appreciate it, and I admire your effort to do good things. Thank you so much.
The best is yet to come. We won't stop until they're free.